Hey guys, my name's Rosalie, and we've been doing these sewing days once a month in our community for about 2 years now. And they've been a really big hit because people bring in stuff they want to mend, rework, maybe something they thrifted that is awesome but just needs to be shortened or a strap needs to be fixed. One thing about these sewing days is they started off really chaotic. It's been 2 years to perfect them and they're not perfect yet, but I have some tips if you want to do this in your own community. Since I've been posting about these sewing days on my different social media channels and blog, 3 people have taken on the idea and done it in their own hometown. And that's the ultimate dream, is because we want people to start sewing again and fixing the stuff that's broken instead of tossing it into the trash or donating it, which most items that are donated unfortunately end up in a landfill or in a third world country where they have too much clothes. And so the best thing to do is to fix your clothes that are broken, maybe rework them in a way where you'll wear them again, and just avoid donating or throwing them away. So here are 5 tips on what we've learned the hard way, I promise, on how to create just a really seamless, pun intended, sewing day that is a lot of fun and just a way. I get into the details of maybe even charging people and how to do scheduling and how regularly to have them. Follow along. Let's go. My first tip on creating your own sewing repair workshop in your hometown is to not do it alone. I partnered with an incredible seamstress/friend and a local refill shop that has great respect in the community. They already have a following online of people that care about sustainability and would be very interested in repairing something to keep it out of the landfill. And they were our venue. So having these people on board not only allowed us to reach a broader audience because more Instagram followers, more on the email subscribe list to advertise, but it took a lot of stress off in obviously many ways. 2, I highly recommend charging people. We charge $25 per hour. We tried donation only. Some people donated, but most didn't. And they're not bad people, but I'm quite sure they didn't because they didn't realize that we're actually spending money on tools, sometimes fabric, and unfortunately, regular sewing machine upkeep and repairs. Another great benefit of charging is it got people to actually come if they paid before coming. We would have a lot of people bail, and those were time slots that other people could have come in. But we were booked up, and when somebody bailed, then, we were just sitting around waiting for the next person to come in. So I highly recommend charging because it's almost like a deposit that makes people actually put it on their calendar. And we would give a percentage to our venue, Kokua Foundation, who is doing really good things in the community. So almost justified in people's heads to actually pay, knowing they're contributing to a really good thing and knowing they're doing also a good thing for the environment, repairing their clothes. Number 3, ask for donations. I'm not talking money, I'm talking sewing stuff. A lot of people have fabric that they're getting rid of, and it's great to bring spare fabric to the sewing workshop because sometimes people need it for patches or trim or just additional pieces to fix whatever item they're working on. A lot of people have fabric to donate and sometimes even sewing machines and tools. We got a sewing machine donated to this. You'd be shocked, but we've gotten amazing donations because people don't know how to sew. They inherited sewing supplies from their grandma or whoever, and they're just super ready to donate. 4th tip, you have 1 person come per seamstress, per machine, per hour. That means you need to have some sort of a time slot sign-up sheet. And if we can have 3 seamstresses come that day, we have a few other seamstress friends that come to help, then 3 people can come to fix their item. But we also have to have 3 machines there, and then all of them obviously can be working together in the same hour. So the more seamstresses you have, the more people can come during that hour time slot. And lately we've just had 2 seamstresses, so 2 people come in per hour, and it just makes things so much less stressful. It used to be chaotic having more than that, and now we actually enjoy these days and people actually finish their project. Lastly, that brings me to when people don't finish their project, and I highly advise you encourage everybody that walks through the door to learn to sew. The most ideal thing is to teach somebody how to fish, not to just give them a fish. We want people to keep repairing their clothes at home. I'm telling you, we have had so many people give us feedback down the road saying that they picked up sewing because of our sewing repair workshop. It's the most encouraging thing to hear. Loads of people just need you next to them, showing them how to thread a machine, how to start sewing. They get so inspired and they go home and buy their own supplies. Encourage everybody to pick this up on their own, and even if they can't afford a sewing machine quite yet, but they want to keep going with the sewing, tell them to come to your next workshop. Make it a regular thing. We do ours once a month, maybe you can too, or quarterly or annual, but definitely it's really fun to have another one scheduled to tell them to come back to. Remember that the most sustainable item of clothing is the one that's already in your closet, and if we teach others to keep repairing their clothes, keep rewearing them, and reworking them, then we can keep clothes out of landfills and keep the fashion industry from being the second most polluting industry in the world. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel because I talk all things sustainability, and I would love to hear your comments below.